Hi. So, Disabled People Against Cuts is a national campaign. We were set up and led by disabled people to oppose the brutal assaults being waged by the condemned government on disabled people in this country, and a result of the lack of leadership that was being shown by our own deaf and disabled people's organisations in opposing austerity. Our organisations have got used to working with government. They got comfortable, got subsumed into contract culture and neoliberalism. It was as if they hadn't even noticed that the government had changed, insisting we needed to work with rather than against. So in October 2010, disabled people were at the front of the march at the Tory Party conference in Birmingham, and from then, DPAC was formed. What we found thereafter was more than we'd ever anticipated in terms of how widespread the level of anger and outrage was against what Tories were doing to disabled people in this country, what the Lib Dems were letting them get away with, and what Labour didn't actually disagree with. There was a clear appetite for a fight back. There was hunger for direct action. I remember at one conference, a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, "I'm an ATOS victim. I see that I have two choices. One choice is suicide, the other choice is to join DPAC and fight back." And that's the stark reality of the choices facing disabled people under austerity. Disabled people are seeing the hard-won rights and entitlements that our movement has fought for over 40 years swept aside within the course of a single parliament. Veteran campaigners, my friends and mentors, are going to their graves seeing their lives' work wiped out by greedy and spoiled politicians. But as DPAC members have flocked to us, as local groups have sprung up around the country, bringing together local disabled people, trade unions, anti-cuts groups and local voluntary sector organisations, the message has been clear. Disabled people and our allies are not going to let this happen without a fight. And we've been challenged by the disabled people who thought they represented us, who thought they could speak on our behalf to government. And they told us to be careful. They told us that we shouldn't openly reject the role of the grateful crip that society likes to see disabled people playing. But we didn't listen. After we blocked Oxford Circus for an afternoon, after we chained ourselves up across lanes of traffic at Trafalgar Square, people didn't say to us, "How dare you?" They said, "Good for you." After we organised a week of action against ATOS at the end of August, the public didn't tell us we were rude for turning our nose up at the money that ATOS had given the Paralympics. That's what Local told us. But the members of the public I met that week, they told us that ATOS was a disgrace and it should be shut down. The 80,000 strong crowd who booed Osborne, Cameron and May, they agreed with us. They agreed it was hypocritical for ministers to be handing out medals with one hand, while with the other they were taking away essential benefits from disabled people. The Tories in power is literally a matter of life and death for disabled people. On average, 32 people a week are found fit for work by ATOS, die or take their own lives. And things are going to get much, much worse. Over the course of this Parliament, disabled people are set to lose nearly £9 billion in benefits and entitlements. And that's £9 billion from people who had hardly anything to begin with. In April 2013, disability living allowance is going to be replaced with personal independence payments, with a target to reduce claimants by 20%. The consequences of that are terrifying to consider. By 2015, the Independent Living Fund is going to be closed, robbing the right of disabled people with higher support needs to live in the community. Already inclusive education is under attack, and with any hope of true equality and inclusion in our society. The only way to save the lives of disabled people is to get the Tories out. But disabled people can't do it on our own. It needs the strength of an effective trade union movement. We've seen what happens when trade unions back away from serious action, with what happened with Remploy, and the failure to turn mass public sympathy into a win for the thousands of workers faced with losing their jobs and their livelihoods. So disabled activists, we're calling on the trade unions to step it up, like we've had to. We're calling on the union leadership to set a date for a general strike. Disabled activists will be there in solidarity, will join the picket lines across the country, but time is running out for disabled people and we can't win this on our own.